speech called Spiritual Amnesia. Why do we forget God? Why do we forget our divine essence? Actually, the question is why. It isn't why. It shouldn't be why. It should be how. How do we remember God? That's a better question. I grew up in a healthy household, wonderful parents, but I was shy. I was very shy. I would walk down the hallway at school and pretend that I was hidden, pretend that I didn't look at people, didn't say hi, because God forbid, if they didn't say hi, then what would happen? What would happen to me? I loved people, but I was afraid of people, and it was crippling to me. Thank God I got out of it when I graduated. I started daring myself to do things, and I started feeling more confident. I joined Toastmasters. I used to have hear the expression, life's a beach and then you die. Well, it wasn't really beach. And I thought, what a negative way to look at life, but it is true in some aspects. I had a professor at university, and he would give us an assignment and say, it builds character. And I would think to myself, I wouldn't say this to him, I've had enough character building to last me a lifetime. I'm only 25 years old at this time. I've had a lot more character building. And another expression is, it's all good. And I thought, no, it's not all good. My divorce wasn't good. My losing my job wasn't good. My being shy in high school was not good. So what do they mean by that expression? Well, over the years, I've come to understand it. I grew up, and I didn't grow up with any religion, and frankly, I couldn't buy into any religion. It just didn't make sense to me. One day I was doing yoga though, and I had a meditation afterwards, and I came out of that meditation feeling pure bliss. Where did that come from? Oh my God, I was just so, wow, that's cool. I think there's something more than I came here by accident, than I just live and then I die. There's got to be something more. So one time a friend came to me and she said, you know, I go to this spiritual center. Do you want to come with me? And I said, yeah, sure, I'll check it out. And wow, okay, this is it. This made sense. It was backed by science. I needed something to make sense to me. Quantum physics. It's all energy. And what I learned was that God is all energy. And you can call it energy. You can call it, God is everything. God is in everything. God is in the trees. God is in the mountains. God is in you. God is in me. And I also learned that God is love. God is joy. God is peace. God is vitality. God is abundance. Wow. And I felt that joy in that meditation, so I had proof. My body works perfectly. When it's injured, it heals itself. It's vital. It's vitality. I have proof. I want to read you a quote from Patanjali. And this comes with abundance. When we move in one direction, when you are inspired by some purpose, some extraordinary project, all of your thoughts break their bonds. Your mind transcends limitations. Your consciousness expands in every direction. And you find yourself in a new, great, wonderful world. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents become alive. And you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamed yourself to be. Amen. And then I would just delve, I just love this stuff, so I delved into bought books, I bought audio books, I would go on walks with my dog and listen to them all the time, 24/7. I was taking classes. I would go to the spiritual Center for Spiritual Living at the time, and I was just like, wow, this is so amazing. And I get in deep conversations with spiritual people, just so beautiful. But then I noticed some of these spiritual people were talking in lack. They were saying things like, oh yeah, I can't afford it. Oh, yeah, I'm just gonna get sick because my kids are getting sick. I just can't do it. And I'm like, do you remember who you are? Do you remember? Why don't you remember? And then I started forgetting. I started forgetting who I was. So how do we remember who we are? How do we remember? Well, I have a few tricks of the trade. I mean, we all have, like, many of us have spiritual practices. Many of us do meditation. That's a way to remember. Many of us come to places like this to remember. Have spiritual conversations with other people. Listen to audiobooks. Read books. But sometimes we have a spiritual practice in the morning, then all day we've forgotten who we are, and then at the very end we remember again. So what about remembering during the day? What about tying it to another habit you have while you're painting your fence or something? Just get into that moment. A few things I'll let you know that I do is I get in the shower, and wow, what a great time to have gratitude, right? I love my body, I love my arms, I love all my internal organs. Yeah, I do that. And I used to get so angry at stoplights. I mean, I gotta get somewhere, I gotta go. And this stupid stoplight is in my way. And I would get really stressed out. Now you know what I do? I deep breathe. I breathe. I feel the steering wheel in my hands. Myself sitting in the car seat. And I breathe. And did you know it only takes about 2 or 3 breaths before the light turns green? Perfect! Also, even a mundane task like doing the dishes. Feel your hands in the warm dishwater. Feeling the weight of the plate. And just watching yourself wash dishes. You don't even have to tell yourself exactly what to do. You just know, it just happens. Going for a walk in nature. Feeling your feet in your boots, your toes in your boots. Feeling the wind in your hair, the sun on your skin. Seeing the trees. Imagining the roots going way into the ground, intermingling with other trees, communicating with other other trees. And I can actually feel that. I can feel that energy when I'm paying attention, when my ego mind is not in control. Also, let's remember God is giving us messages all the time. You know, a relative of mine said, I don't understand how those tarot cards work. I mean, why do people put so much value in them? And I couldn't answer him at the time. But they are, you know, if God is in everything, God's in those tarot cards. God's in that book that fell on the floor that gave me the exact right message I had to hear that day. God is in that truck driving by saying, just do it. God is there. God is everywhere if we look. If you remember to look. Also, when I'm coaching people, you know, a lot of people are busy and they can't get everything done. And I say, well, what about doing this method by Abraham Hicks called the placemat process, where you take one side of the paper and say, okay, this is what I want to be, do, and have today. And then on the other side, this is what I'm going to give God to do today. It can be something you can't control, like the weather. I want a nice sunny day. It can be something I really don't want to get done. And it could be something that I don't even want to think of doing. I don't want to think. Maybe I want the inspiration to do it. But it's something I have to get done. We forget to give God those tasks. A lot of times when I can't find my cell phone or my keys, I'm looking around frantically everywhere. Can't find my keys. And then, oh yeah, I can get God to help me out with that. And I make an intention, and then I find him. No problem. I want to tell you about a time when God did have my back, when God was helping me out. I was at a cabin at our, my parents had this old coal miner's cabin in this coal mine town that was deserted. And there were a lot of different cabins, and not some, sprinkled through the area. And my daughter and I and my dog went out there to spend time with my parents. And we went out and we played in the snow. It was February, it was probably -10. And we played in the snow and, you know, making snow angels and all that. And then Stephanie my daughter decided to go back. We had our, you know, all our snow, you know, pants and lots of layers on and snow boots. And I said, well, I'm going to go down to the creek. My dog was with me, and we're going to go down to the creek. So Daisy went down to the creek, and there was a skidoo trail across the creek. It wasn't frozen anymore, but the skidoo trail was still frozen. So she walked out on that and fell in the water. Well, I said, okay, I have to get her out. So no problem. I thought I was standing on the bank. And then I was in the water. And I couldn't get out. I could not feel the bottom of the creek. And it wasn't like a tapered slope. It was straight up and down. It was a small creek. And it was probably a little wider than my reach. And I had to reach up, and I found these willows, like a few thin little willows. And I thought I couldn't get myself up, so I started calling, help! Help! Somebody, Stephanie, anyone! Nobody was hearing me. And I looked up in the blue sky. And I thought, am I going to die today? I knew hypothermia would set in soon. I wasn't cold. I was still floating because I had all this clothing on. And so I decided to swim. So I was swimming and breaking the ice as I was swimming. along this creek and trying to find a shallower place that I could step out, and I couldn't. So I thought, okay, I have to get myself out. So I reached up, found some more little tiny willows, reached up, and then I was on the bank. And I don't have any memory of pulling myself out of there. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. And a guy across the way said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, actually I'm not. I just fell in the creek." And he came over, my knight in shining armor. He came over, he put his jacket around me, and he walked me up back to my cabin. But you know what? He wasn't the only knight in shining armor. I had God helping me. And I do believe that God helped me get out of there, because there's no way I could physically lift myself out of that creek, and I don't even remember it happening. So God had my back. And that's proof, and I always need proof. So in conclusion, we've had, we can build these habits. We can remember. We can remember God with any habit we have. It's an unconscious habit, and we can keep going with these habits. And look at your work. Maybe you're sitting in a chair for a minute. Maybe you just take time. Any place. I was telling Bob when he's painting his fence, why not be conscious? Why not remember this power flowing through us, this amazing force we have? So remember, God has your back. And it's all good.